Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rich again, and I am still working on my master bathroom. So I'm at the point where I'm ready to begin to think about installing a shower door in the shower stall since the tiling is complete. So I'm going to be using an outside vendor. I just felt like it was a better use of my dollars to have somebody that did it every day and that was going to be able to purchase the glass from a factory and that it was custom done. Most of the vendors that are out there will want to put screws and clips into the walls and into the floors to secure the glass. If you're using a frameless design, they have these clamps and then they screw into the tile floor. The problem with that is that if you use a waterproofing method like I have, which you do the mortar bed and then you do the sheet membrane, or maybe it's a liquid membrane over top of the mortar bed and then you tile, your waterproofing is very close to the top of the actual installation. But for them to screw into the floor or through the tile, they're going to go directly past my waterproofing membrane, basically introducing a hole in my waterproofing by installing that glass partition or glass door. I don't want to introduce holes if I can help it. So I did some research about what methods of installation I could employ to not introduce any holes in the floor, because I don't want to take the chance that one of those holes will actually allow water to leak through and then go down into my first floor of my house and start leaking in the ceiling. So I've done all this work with the shower and made sure I waterproofed it really well just to have the glass door be screwed into the floor and basically negate everything that I've done. So let me share with you what I've got. So I found this piece of Schluter profile. So this profile comes in, and you can see it right here, the profile. It's basically a channel for the glass to sit in, and this comes in various widths, so you can get it in widths of for 3/8 of an inch glass, and then you can also get it in this width, which is designed to hold a 1/2 inch piece of glass. And then this extension here is to be tiled up underneath the tile itself. So you can get it in different widths, and you can also get it in different profile heights. So if your tile is 3/8 of an inch like mine is, this is 3/8 of an inch, so the tile will actually go right up against it and it's flush with the floor. So you don't actually see this sticking out or protruding from the floor. Actually, the glass sits down into the floor because this has been tiled in. And it has a really clean look to it. You can either get this in an aluminum, because most of Schluter's profiles, like the profiles that you see here for tile edges and then corners, most of those come in either a PVC or an aluminum profile, and they're fairly inexpensive. But since I knew that this was going to be holding glass, I wanted to get the stainless steel version of this. So I got the stainless steel, and it's an 8-foot length, and it was kind of pricey compared to the aluminum. So my intention is to have a fixed panel of glass and then have my door hinge off of this glass. I spoke with a lot of the different vendors, and they said it's not a problem to hinge off a fixed piece of glass rather than hinging off the wall, but they wanted to make sure that if you're going to hinge off the fixed piece of glass, that you have a 1/2 inch thick piece of glass. So I cut down a piece at approximately 12 1/4 inches, and that leaves me a width of about 29 inches for the shower door. Standard is like 28 to 29, so that's about right. It's fairly wide, so I think that's a pretty good door width. I spoke with the vendor yesterday, and they suggested that before he takes measurements, that he wanted me to glue this down. So I didn't really want to glue any of this down until I spoke with all the vendors that actually install these doors and determine which one I was going to go with, and to determine whether or not they felt this was a secure attachment point for the glass door hinge. So the vendor that I spoke with, he felt like it would be sufficient to use this, and that he would have the heavy duty hardware on the walls as well in this point. The only issue that he was thinking is that typically they just use silicone to adhere these glass panels into place. And the only thing that you typically have to worry about with channel is that they said that what happens is over time it wants to, the channel itself tends to weaken because it bends back and forth when you, the movement of the door, it ends up causing this to loosen up. But because the channel is basically embedded into the tile itself, it has nowhere to move. This will not weaken over time because it's fixed inside the mortar bed. So he didn't feel like that would be a problem. That was the only thing. He just wants to make sure that when you put the glass in, that he would use some little plastic wedges to really keep it tight within that space. And so he felt like it would be a good install to use it. So he was like, you just need to cut it down and fix it into place before I take measurements. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm actually putting in this piece and then putting in this final piece of mosaic tile that I have to get it fitted into place so that he can come over and take final measurements. Essentially, I'm just going to take a square here to make sure that I have I'm square to the shower walls, so that once this is in place, it's not going to move. So I need to make sure that this is actually perpendicular to this shower wall, to the shower wall itself, and that it will run over to the exact spot that it needs to when they mount the glass. So that's what I'm just trying to make sure why I have this square here. And I may use a string line just to be sure that everything is lining up straight. Once I get the thin set down, I'll run this string line kind of across to make sure that it's exactly the way I want this channel to be perpendicular to the wall. So now we're ready to set this down in there. So I just want to take a string, since this square is not going all the way to the other side. I want to make sure that by making it square to this wall that it's going to be square against the other wall. So I'm just going to put a string right alongside it on the edge, take it all the way to the other side, and see how that looks. Going to be what we want. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The walls look pretty square. So I think we can just kind of, once we get this lined up, I think we're good. We're pretty square right there, so now all I just need to do is add a little more thin set over top of this, so that tiles have something to stick to. Okay, so there's the final install of it. And so I'm just going to let this set up, get hard, so that the shower door installation vendor can come back and take some measurements for getting the custom glass cut. I think this is a good solution for this particular type of style of waterproofing because of the way this waterproofing's designed and the way that this shower floor has been constructed. I think that, you know, by putting those screws in there is really asking for trouble. So hopefully this is helpful to you. I didn't see a lot of this out in the space on the internet, so I was just able to do some research and found it, luckily. But you know, hopefully this works out well, and maybe in the future, you know, maybe 6 months to a year down the road, I can kind of give you all an update as to how this is performing over time, because that's really the key, is whether or not its longevity is going to be what's expected. So in any case, please hit the like button or subscribe to my channel. If you have questions about this in particular, you know, happy to answer any questions or comments that you might have. So until the next video, all right folks, I'll see you later.